Plaster Creek. Children sneak through the neighbor's yard down a narrow forest path to the creekside where snapping turtles bathe in sun along the rust-colored banks and, lowering themselves quietly through the reeds beside the water, try cautiously, anxiously, to creep unnoticed behind the half-sleeping, almost prehistoric things, to catch them just a moment by their powerful tails, pull them up the angle of the embankment onto flat ground where the slope planes off into the forest, hold tightly then to the writhing tail, all muscle, careful to keep their fingers behind the back of the shell as the long neck of the small beast snaps back nearly halfway over its own body, trying to clamp hard on any soft part, keeping it from the safety of the water it scurries helplessly toward in air and white ground, and which the children have been told, or have always just told themselves, not to touch, since for 100 years or more the factories in town poured poison runoff down into it in the great river it leads to a few miles away, on which the city first came to be, at least as the city is defined now, and where before it native tribes fished and farmed and gathered until from other places arrived settlers to take it, and the rapids which gave the place the name it still holds out from the current, to float logs easier down for furniture builders risen alongside of it, the names of which crisscross still native ones above intersections in the quiet neighborhood in which these children follow daily to the woods without knowing who the street names commemorate, or anything at all of the histories they mark, nor why the winding waterway they've led them to is called Plaster Creek, because they do not know what gypsum is or how to make drywall the old way, or that in dredging it up from the creek bed to do so, they spiderwebbed below the city dark tunnels long ago abandoned and repurposed to store archives in temperature-controlled rooms, on shelves and ring-bound tomes of paper soon obsolete, the same way the tunnels themselves became when more efficient means of mining and production came to be, long before the children rode their bikes down Mulford Street to Billintaw, near Overbrook, into the woods to catch turtles or to find pornographic magazines inside hollow, downed logs 20 paces in the tree line, which they carried back in secret to the porch of their parents' house while they were working, and an older sibling found out and asked them what inside they liked, and the younger one pointed without hesitation to the older women with heavy breasts pulled from dresses, and understood for the first time how it feels to claw helplessly at the earth away from something you can't escape, for relief you can't find, and which in the end may even be more poisonous to the body than the thing holding it unwillingly in place. Like when the song Man-Eater would play on the car radio Sunday mornings driving with the family to one of so many Christian Reformed churches in the city, outnumbering even the furniture factories now 3-1, where you'll sit drawing war scenes in your bulletin all service, hearing the song in your head and picturing the woman from the magazine, while elderly Dutch people in the pews shake your tiny hand kindly, saying, "Peace be with you, peace be with you," and the purple Advent banners hung behind the pulpit and choir like battle flags stare back at you, and you feel no peace at all, understanding vaguely again what it means to be predestined for something or somewhere, though what you can't stop imagining feels equal parts heaven and hell at the same time, and where decades later you will return periodically from where you've moved in adulthood for weddings and for funerals most of all, forced again to consider things you can't understand even now, death and after it, wax bodies laying before the banners like an offering to God, friend or family member, suicide or cancer, or some small boy like you were once who took the wrong step toward the river's edge and tumbled in to drown or drink the poison of the whole previous century in panicked gasps before a neighbor doing yard work hears the shouting from the other children and either pulls him out or wasn't there and could not. And the pastor could not correct that error in prayer, and the doctors could not pull the poison from his body, and he died quietly in a hospital bed months later or years with his family around him at the dinner table, during which time you left this place, moved across the country with the woman you loved to be somewhere both different and the same, then came to understand in the years following after you would in some ways always drink in your own helpless gasps the poison of aging and forgetting the amazement of early youth in those woods, in those neighborhoods back home, but never the shame, never the darkness of tunnels underneath it, never the feeling of its tail in your hands, its sharp claws digging in the dirt, trying desperately to get away.
Basically, this is the like history of Grand Rapids, but I want it to begin, I think, with a personal story where it starts in childhood and you see like kids playing at a creek, and then you talk about where the creek leads to and to the river that is the city of Grand Rapids, effectively, into the furniture factories, into the influence of the Christian Reformed Church and of Dutch settlement, and but more or less like to create some sort of context for if these are our characters in the present day, and this is what they're dealing with in the present day, the transition from here into this section that follows it is we're going from here, and then we're going back to like memories from years before in Grand Rapids. So it's a way to kind of take us from there to here.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is fried, so it's really kind of not making a ton of sense, but
it carries the listener from one section to the next, sort of, right?
yeah, and it also, like, I think, you know, the two of the, or one of, I mean, maybe the biggest theme on the record is like understanding that you are subject to control beyond, subject to the control of systems beyond yourself and beyond your immediate circle. Not that you aren't. Not that you don't have some agency over where you end up, but there are bigger things than you or I at play, and bigger things than your individual relationships and interactions, and things that have shaped why you have those tendencies, and, you know, the way your environment's affected who you are as a person. To like provide a very, very big picture, broad context of that for two people who have grown up in a city by talking about what that city is.
Mm-hmm.
And in the context of the record, that being Grand Rapids. So a lot of the church and a lot of... So I would like to put a lot of information in this song, especially because I initially considered this to be the beginning of the record, and I was thinking of it as being like a long spoken piece. So I think there can be a lot of parts. I think it can be long. I think this is the first epic. We've got like epic track, like big, long, substantial peak moment, and I don't think we've ever done that. Not in the back third of a record.
Cool. If you had to compare it to a song in the LD catalog that it's trying to accomplish,
I don't know. Some combination of... I mean, I hesitate to say Last Lost Continent because it's a 12-minute fucking song, but like...
structurally, you mean like
something like that, something that
part
has,
to
part to part, that just like moves from one thing to the other and gives me space to say a lot of things without speaking for 6 straight minutes.
Yeah.
So,
cool. That's super helpful, I think. And I'm having deja vu right now, which is weird. With me and you in this exact moment, talking about this song, talking about you holding turtle. It's fucked. It's so weird. If there's a way...
There's always a way, Bradley.
To bring that pause like that back again somewhere would be so cool. So
I could bring it back. Yeah. No, I know. This is all first draft, so there's going to be a lot of
very, very cool.
fine tuning.
drums in here.
And I have this weird inner turmoil where at some point, because I know there's a deadline, we just have to say, that's good enough, let's move on. That's the part I don't like. And I think I've gotten better with time to let things be when they need to be let be. But there were a lot of times in this record that I was like, I would have done that different. Even straight away, I would have done this different, I would have done this different, I would have done this different. It's with every record. And I know that with time, I won't think about that stuff as much. But for me personally, that's very difficult. But I'm trying to be 5 records on, trying to get better at that. Yeah.
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 I think the one they weren't paying attention to was Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
true.
Everyone has their process. Mine is pacing and not sleeping. Usually lay down and then think about what still needs to be done, and then think about if things are good enough, and then wonder if the record sucks ass, and then I'm like, it's probably good, and then I'm like, hopefully fall asleep, and then I wake up and do it all over again.
I think I imagine this process a lot like as similar to like a visual art, like you're making a painting or something, because there's like the conceptual idea, and then there's like the content, and there's the execution. And like, I think this record, you can see the amount of work that went into it. Like you see a painting of a massive scale, you see like the details that go into it, and you're like, this must have taken like, you know, thousands of hours. And there's really no denying that. And I think, to me, this was a massive achievement, or massive like endeavor. And I think at this point, very happy with like how it came across, because I think it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always come out the way you think it's going to, or sometimes it's like you're chasing an idea you had previously, or the way something came out, and it's like it can be hard to get the same feelings or the exact same sort of thing that you wanted in the beginning.
Chad's rocked too hard. It was so cool. He didn't trip over anything. He just rocked so hard that
Everything exploded. Did that come through at all?
Oh, that's it! Look at that!
Cool.
It sucks that it's such a tiny little...
I just lost the tip. I mean, you can surely replace these, right?
Yeah, of course. You're asking me.
I know how to solder. Okay.
It's alright.
Been using those for like 12 years. 10 years.
Wow. Oh, end of an era.
I'll fix them.
To where you're staring at the water below. What would happen if you fell down the slope? If you drown, or would your body wash out? Would it carry all the way to Lake Michigan?
I mean, environmental catastrophe film, I think I've said it, I think more than once so far on this trip, It might be the thing that I'm most proud of in our entire catalog.
I could do this forever, so you tell me when you're done.
I have spent a lot of time on this song. I really wanted it to turn out excellent because it was already an excellent song.
We go forward every day to the end where we began, to the darkness up ahead. And every moment passing is another one you'll never get back, and you can only get older. Older. Older.
I can't do anymore. It feels fucking good to do though. Kill me. Let me die in this room in front of this fucking microphone doing this fucking part of all parts. I'm proud that I finally found the opportunity to do it. And that Adam and I finally got Screamo songs on the record after years of advocating.
One note solo. Nothing like it. The perfect ending to the